This is unreal.
The weather, an uncontrollable force, giving us life and taking it away. As our planet heats up, the weather is getting more extreme.
Guys, we've got cars floating again.
More terrifying.
Avalanche!
And even more catastrophic.
If you're the praying type, please just pray for us, because this is really scary.
With incredible self-shot footage.
I thought Titanic came into my head.
From the front line of fear.
The biggest challenge we have is going against Mother Nature.
It's an extremely challenging environment.
We witness firsthand
what I was feeling was burning from inside out.
the wrath of Mother Nature.
I was saying everything's going to be okay, even though in my head I knew that was a lie.
I'm getting out of here.
It's like your brain doesn't understand what you're seeing.
From twisted tales of terror.
I don't want to die in my store.
Death was right around the corner.
Earth-shattering natural disasters.
It's an earthquake!
You're dicing with danger. If you're in their way, you die.
And stories of sheer destruction.
Oh my God!
It's all gone.
It looks like World War II.
We meet the people who've stared death in the face.
We're not going to get out of this alive.
And survived the full force of the world's deadliest weather.
Really kicking our ass.
Coming up in this episode, terrifying twisters take over Texas,
Tornado right there!
leaving a storm chaser with nowhere to run.
This is the end. I love my family. When you're waiting for your death, time slows down.
In Florida, deadly riptides drag swimmers out to sea,
I thought I was gonna lose my whole family.
prompting a daring rescue mission.
If the very end would have let go, then they would have been swept out as well.
And in Italy, a restaurant owner feels the full force of Mother Nature.
The mass of water was enormous.
Coming face to face with the raw power of Mother Nature can be an exhilarating experience. And someone who knows this thrill better than most is Gabe Cox, founding member of storm chasing team Tornado Trackers.
We are out there to document the wildest weather events we can find. Our passion centers around tornadoes.
Gabe and chase partner Jeff Mangum enjoy sharing every thrill from their hair-raising encounters with deadly twisters.
We want people to smell what it smelled like and see what you saw and experience exactly what you experienced.
It's April 2017, and thunderstorms have spawned a series of tornadoes near the town of Canton in Texas, USA. In avid pursuit are the Tornado Trackers.
It's a massive tornado.
I got a tornado warning on my phone for a storm to our south. This is when Jeff and I began to realize, okay, this is a serious situation now. I have my cell phone out in the rain, and all of a sudden it turns off. And I told Jeff, I said, my phone's dead, so I'm just gonna follow you and we're gonna chase this tornado.
It's a wedge.
I try to take a U-turn. But the right-hand side of my car hit a bunch of mud on the side of the road.
Jeff!
So the shoulder of the road was very soft, and it didn't take much for my car to get yanked into a flooded ditch.
Unaware that Gabe is now trapped in the flooded ditch, Jeff continues the chase. But the tornado outbreak has grown to 7 raging twisters. And Gabe watches in horror as one begins to barrel straight towards him.
There was a moment of disbelief, like, is this really happening? I managed to get the rear tires just to the top of the ditch, and that's when the earth gave way under my car and I slid in even further. That's when things went from frustrated to terrified. Because the last radar image I had seen on my phone was there's a mile-wide tornado coming right from my location, and there's nowhere for me to go. My brain was racing to try to figure out, how can I survive this?
Well, I am stuck in the mud.
There was a real sense of, this is the end at that point.
There is a confirmed tornado heading straight towards me. My phone has died. I have nowhere to go.
With his life hanging in the balance and hope fading fast, Gabe's thoughts turn to his wife and their 2 daughters.
This is the end. I love my family. Meredith, you're amazing.
I made a goodbye video to my wife and kids.
Tegan and Kylie, you're incredible girls. I know you'll grow up to be amazing women.
I had seen bits of debris, small leaves and twigs starting to fall from the sky, so I knew, yes, this is real, this is happening.
Oh, Jesus.
I stayed curled up in the vehicle, just waiting and praying, Jesus, don't let it hit. Please, somehow make it miss.
Here it comes.
As Gabe braces for impact, Jeff is chasing down another tornado, unaware that his partner is in deadly peril.
It wasn't until maybe 2 minutes later I look to my rearview mirror and I don't see Gabe.
Gabe, where are you?
I was absolutely convinced that he just went to the east and was assuming we could capture footage from both sides of the tornado.
As I'm lying in the ditch, I had the reality of, storm chasers have died before.
All right, I'm taking cover.
When you're waiting for your death, time slows down. It felt like an eternity. Death was right around the corner.
Against all the odds, the twister narrowly misses Gabe.
I think that's it. Oh my God.
But Jeff is now caught up in the midst of the outbreak.
The moment you start seeing it,
Tornado! Tornado right there!
you're trying to catch your breath. The adrenaline's kicked in. I'm on cloud 9. I think this is it. This was the moment that we were hoping for.
But while Jeff is clearly elated, across town, Gabe reflects on his dangerously close encounter.
Well, this is how I survived almost being in a tornado. And there may be another one just down the road. Oh, shoot.
Gabe's car is pulled out of the ditch by a passerby, and his attention turns to Jeff, who we last saw driving into another tornado.
I need to know that Jeff is alive and that he's okay. Because at that point, I thought he was dead. Forget this. I'm done with storm chasing. I almost died. I think I killed my chase partner. This is not worth it.
Anybody in here?
For Jeff, assessing the aftermath is a sobering wake-up call.
Is anyone here?
I come to this small neighborhood. This thing had just happened, just a few moments earlier. So I'm the first on scene.
Oh no, please don't be in here.
You're trying to take stock of what you're about to see. I was fully convinced I was about to see someone who was not alive.
Is anybody here?
Thought of going and finding someone, it was too much. I don't know if I could have handled that.
Oh, I smell gas.
There's propane tanks, very large ones that are busted open. You can hear that high-pitched screaming sound, that there's gas right around you, that if anything sparks, explosion is going to happen.
Anybody hear us?
Jeff later finds out that the homeowners had evacuated before the tornado hit. But others were not so lucky. A total of 7 tornadoes struck East Texas during the outbreak. The highest rated was confirmed as a powerful EF4. Tragically, 4 people lost their lives. Gabe's own close call has made him question the perilous pursuit of professional storm chasing.
Had this tornado had gone over the road where my car was, and there's absolutely no way I'd be sitting here today.
But it reminds you the weather is unbelievably unpredictable.
If I learned anything during the Canton chase, it was to really respect Mother Nature. Is this a career choice that I want to continue?
But the destructive force of nature is no match for these weather junkies' passion for pursuing the ultimate storm.
There's something in me that says, you have to be there. You gotta go do this. It wasn't long after that I was back out on the road chasing storms again.
In October 2018, Venice was inundated by its worst flooding in over a decade, as an exceptionally high tide caused 3/4 of the lagoon city to be buried in up to 5 feet of water. In a truly remarkable show of resistance, locals and tourists alike tried to make the very best of the situation. There were swimmers in the world-famous San Marco Piazza, perhaps trying to save on a gondola fare. Astonishingly, the annual Venice Marathon went ahead as planned, making the grueling 26 miles even more challenging. And for this resolute restaurant, it was somehow business as usual, as the waiters donned their wellies to serve pizzas to hungry holidaymakers. However, while the Venetians remained in relatively high spirits, considering the circumstances, elsewhere in Italy, the situation became much more severe. In the northwestern port city of Genoa, most establishments have long since closed for the winter, with one stoic exception. Bagni Maddalena, the only restaurant in the area which opens all year round. With a prime location on the seafront, Verona Giovanna da Monte, it is much more than a place of work.
I work here since I was a kid. So I start in the kitchen, then I work to the bar. Then when my father got older, I start to run the enterprise.
Also working at the restaurant, Giovanna's nephew, Marco.
La mia famiglia ha questo stabilimento balneare praticamente da sempre e io insieme, diciamo, alla mia famiglia da quando sono piccolo ho sempre dato una mano.
However, this idyllic slice of authentic Italian life is about to come under threat as the stormy weather hammering Italy worsens, forcing Giovanna and her team to batten down the hatches.
It was pouring down with rain, cats and dogs really, with a lot of wind.
Il mare si è alzato da un paio di metri fino a quello che poi è diventato la vera e propria mareggiata, con onde fino a 10 metri, dove non vedevi neanche quasi l'orizzonte da quanto erano alte.
Also on hand at the restaurant is Federico.
There was all the clouds, like weird, that we've never seen before. It was really dark. Then the sea started to get bigger and bigger, and the water started to get in the restaurant.
Devastating winds of up to 110 miles per hour are battering the coast, whipping the sea into a violent frenzy. And Giovanna's beloved restaurant is enduring a relentless pounding.
Noi eravamo qua in procinto di asciugare, diciamo, l'acqua che filtrava dalla porta per far sì che l'acqua non si infiltrasse sotto al bar e negli impianti elettrici.
We were not frightened. We never had for a second the idea there could be any danger for us.
But with weather this wild, what seems like a manageable situation can change in an instant.
Suddenly my nephew saw something in the light.
Mi sono girato, ho visto arrivare, diciamo, questo piccolo tsunami.
The mass of water was enormous, was huge. I ran against the window trying to protect as an instinct.
Ci siamo attaccati alla porta per cercare di far sì che non si potesse aprire verso di noi, ma la quantità d'acqua era tale, la forza delle onde erano tali che la porta è stata portata via dal mare.
I found myself falling down, the window against me. It was an incredible pain in my back, and there was all this water and the window on my left shoulder.
Subito io ho girato la testa, ho visto le prime vetrate venire giù contro mia zia, infatti ho davvero temuto il peggio perché io l'ho vista scomparire sotto una vetrata sotto l'acqua e subito dopo si è sfondata la porta che ha travolto me e gli altri miei amici. Io quello che ho visto è stato soltanto acqua nera che ci ha portato via.
As Federico is swept helplessly out into the street.
It was like someone really push and keep pushing harder and harder. It was really powerful.
Marco clings on for dear life.
Io sono riuscito ad aggrapparmi al banco della cassa e non sapevo ovviamente dove erano finiti gli altri 3 ragazzi. La prima cosa che ho cercato è stata mia zia.
When I came out from the water, there was something like 1 meter of water inside the restaurant. Everything was destroyed.
I got inside again and I see the Giovanna like touching her back. And then we get out of the restaurant straight away because if the other waves were coming, I think nothing is gonna stop it.
Giovanna is rushed to hospital where she is treated for a broken vertebra. But heroically, the very next day, she is back at the restaurant with her boys assessing the damage.
The first day after the damage, we start to clean.
And we had like a meter, more or less, of sand in all the restaurant.
I was so demotivated to rebuild, but I thought about the boys. That was their work. So I thought I have to rebuild it for them. It took at least 5 months, and we start again with the new restaurant, where now the boys are running it and not me anymore.
With Marco and his friends now running the show. Giovanna is left to reflect upon her brush with death.
There are 3 different sliding doors, and they fell down, one on my right and the one on my left, and not mine. So I don't think I could be alive anymore if my window would have been the one coming down.
The storm caused devastation all over Italy. An estimated 2,000 people had to be evacuated from their homes, and around 125,000 people were left without electricity. Entire picturesque coastal communities were destroyed.
In all the village was like the sea everywhere. Like you had boats on the street. We've never seen something like this in our life.
People have some power in the world, but nature is the boss. They can cancel what we built in less than one minute.
Still to come, a paramotorist gets a crash course in the power of the wind.
It was almost like hitting a brick wall. I didn't have a whole lot of time to think about anything.
And in Greece, a severe storm springs a nasty surprise.
It felt like the whole world was going sideways because of the intensity. It was unbelievable.
With 27 miles of white sand, Panama City Beach in Florida looks like an idyllic spot for families to soak up the sun. But the beach is prone to dangerous rip currents, which can pull water away from the shore and drag swimmers out to sea. It's July 2017, and visiting the beach with her family is mum of 4, Roberta Ursry.
Coming to you live from PCB.
Panama City Beach is the most beautiful beaches you will ever see. The sand is crystal white, the water is clear. It's kind of like the Bahamas.
And chilling on the beach. It's a little cloudy. Sun gonna come back out though.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Further along the beach, Jessica and Derek Simmons are picnicking when the weather takes a turn for the worse.
It was nice and sunny, and within seconds, it changed, and it was, the clouds had rolled in.
So right now, we are in Panama City Beach. It is pouring, raining right now.
The rain was so fierce, it literally felt like little needles hitting you.
It's storming really bad!
And then 10 minutes later, it's gone, and we're back to having sunshine.
Well, we survived the storm. Pretty skies, woo! Soaked, but we survived.
That's when the whole premise of the date started to change.
A sudden storm whips up waves and creates a rip current 100 yards offshore. Roberta's 2 young sons are playing in the water and are now in mortal danger.
At that time, I threw my phone down and went in the water after them. Those are my kids, I'm going.
Roberta races in, along with her husband, mother and nephew, but now they're all being dragged out to sea.
When I realized that we were all at the mercy of that ocean, I was petrified. I was crying. I thought I was gonna lose my whole family.
With no lifeguards on duty, Jessica and Derek leap into action, coordinating other beachgoers to form a human chain in a desperate bid to rescue Roberta's family and 3 other swimmers.
There was a rescue that needed to happen. What was in my mind was, holding on to one another, having a grounding rod at shore, and making a pathway to get out to rescue these people.
I was crying, but I didn't want my kids to see that. As their mom out there with them, I honestly thought that I was gonna lose them.
More and more people join the rescue effort, each one risking their lives to reach the swimmers.
We were pretty far out there into the ocean, but we still were not far enough to really reach the family that was drowning.
The current was very strong. I tried swimming, but I am literally stuck. I can't go nowhere. And that was the most horrible feeling in the world, knowing that I couldn't help my kids.
We had to make sure that everybody in that chain really held on to one another. If the very end would have let go, then they would have been swept out as well.
Mother Nature can inspire some incredible acts of bravery and teamwork. Like here in Kazakhstan, a frightened dog has fallen into the rushing waters of a swollen reservoir. A good Samaritan dangerously leaps in to try to rescue the stricken pup. But now they're both stranded at the mercy of the fast-flowing current. Thankfully, passers-by come to the rescue, forming a human chain in order to drag the exhausted man and the dog to safety. In China, roads have collapsed after heavy rainfall, and a terrifying sinkhole has appeared in the street. A driverless car is teetering over the edge of the monster hole and threatening to plunge into the deep abyss at any moment. A crowd of 30 locals used brute force to pull on ropes attached to the car's chassis. And incredibly, they heave the vehicle out of danger. Also in China, a mother and her 3-year-old daughter have fallen beneath the ice of a frozen river. Bystanders form a 65-foot-long human chain on the perilous ice. The courageous team hauls them to safety. And miraculously, no one was seriously injured. Back in Florida, a chain of beachgoers are trying to rescue Roberta and her family, who are trapped in a treacherous rip current.
I remember seeing the guy at the end of the chain, but he was still a good distance from me. I wasn't able to touch bottom, so when I'm out there between the two boys and I'm trying to tread, the undertow is pulling me down. This was the most terrifying experience I've ever had in my entire life.
The human chain is now 80 people long, but it still can't reach the stricken swimmers.
It gets harder and harder to hold on, and the human chain was constantly being pushed. You gotta have complete faith in nothing but strangers that they're not just gonna go, oh, well, we're getting out of here, and then the chain unforms and we're stuck out there as well.
Eventually, Jessica grabs some boogie boards and, risking her own life, swims out to reach Roberta and her family.
All of a sudden, I see Jessica. She tells me, you know, come on, let me help you. I'm gonna help you. We're gonna get you out.
You gotta imagine yourself floating above water, and then you're also fighting these waves that are coming over, and you're trying to help someone else get on a boogie board. It was very exhausting.
Once on the boards, the weary swimmers are passed back down the chain of rescuers one by one.
Relying on the strength of your body to stay afloat, trying to get 9 people back to shore. Very grueling, it was intense.
I done got exhausted, and I passed out because from exhaustion, getting up to the shore.
Remarkably, Roberta, her family, and the other swimmers all make it back to the beach alive, thanks to the incredible efforts of their rescuers.
It was pretty emotional. Our family went to rescue another family, and had things turned for the worst, 2 families would have been lost that day. We feel blessed to be alive and that we saved 9 lives that day.
Had it not been for the human chain, we would not have made it. Everybody just came together as one, and it was amazing. They were all angels that day. I have a new outlook on how grateful and precious life can really be, and how quick it can be took from you.
The human chain experience formed an unbreakable bond between the two families.
You know, we share something that's pretty unique. I think we'll always be a part of each other's lives, no matter where we live or what we're doing.
When the elements are against you on the ground, shelter is usually never far away. But when Mother Nature throws a spanner in the works mid-air, you're on your own. In Colombia, this man is flying his hang glider above a burning field. But as he circles above the bellowing fire, turbulence hits. As his glider hits a pocket of cold air, it flips forward, sending it plummeting towards the ground. But he battles against the wind, and incredibly manages to ride out the rough air. Turbulence can be terrifying because it can strike at any time and without warning. On this flight from Johannesburg to Cape Town, these petrified passengers are put through a painful ordeal. And at 20,000 feet, there's nowhere to run. As they're constantly battered by turbulence on their approach into Cape Town, they're left seriously shaken, but luckily they land safely, and there were no major injuries. Unfortunately, landing safely isn't always possible. In Florida, in the US, this parachutist is descending towards the landing zone when a heavy headwind wreaks havoc with his approach. And instead of having a smooth landing on the grass, he slams into the edge of a pond, breaking his leg in the process. Friends rush to his aid, and they support the broken limb while an ambulance is called. And somehow, despite the severity of the injury, he's able to see the funny side. But it just goes to show going head to head with Mother Nature in the air can leave you vulnerable. One man who knows all too well about turbulence trouble is pilot Andy Bean from South Carolina in the US.
I've been in aviation my whole life, flying single-engine type propeller stuff. I've flown multiple different types of military aircraft, and then also fly the Airbus for a major airline.
And Andy's always up for aviation antics in his spare time too. His latest obsession, paramotoring.
It was instantly appealing to me because there's another aspect of aviation that I hadn't gotten involved in. It seemed to be very freeing. There's no instrument panel in front of you. You know, you can just look down at your feet going over the landscape.
But along with the freedom his newfound hobby offers comes the risk of being exposed to the elements.
The winds, it can be turbulent. It is just a piece of fabric that's over your head, and it is susceptible to bigger wind changes. So paying attention to the wind, I think, is pretty important. Paramotoring worst conditions would probably be very turbulent wind. So if there's wind that's quickly changing directions or gusting, but weather can rapidly change. So it is something that you need to constantly be on top of.
It's June 2019. Andy and fellow paramotorist Ryan head into the hills around Charleston, South Carolina, hoping to have a relaxed flight.
I checked weather at the surface is calm. I checked weather at 1,000 feet. It was calm and the treetops were nice and still. However, that morning, I did not check winds at each 100 feet. I checked at surface and at 1,000, and those appear to be calm. And most of the time, the winds between that are going to be about the same. We were very eager to go fly, and maybe hastily did some of the weather checks. Just, hey, we want to get in the air. And it looked to be good and the forecast was good. And so we took off that day. I like flying low. Just to be able to kind of get down at treetop level, that's a lot of fun for me. So I enjoy doing that. What I was unaware of is at 300 feet, there is actually winds gusting above 19 knots with about a 50-degree shift in direction. Suddenly, I felt wind hit my body. It was almost like hitting a brick wall. And my wing instantly snapped back behind me. It was very violent. Wings typically don't violently collapse like that. So I wasn't really sure what was going on. The way to get out of turbulence is to leave that area, whether that's altitude or laterally. But at my location and altitude didn't give me a lot of chance to get out of that situation. Once I fell through the lines, it ripped off my helmet camera. That went spinning to the ground. The wing collapsed again. I was under a little bit of G-force spinning around. What was going through my head then was, this is not going to turn out well. This is going to turn out with me, hitting the ground. So then I was trying to judge, where am I going? How can I prepare for this? But to be honest, I didn't have a whole lot of time to think about anything. And the wind starts rushing in your ears and the whole world's getting blurry because you're spinning around. I only had about a few seconds just to even wrap my head around what's going on before I was flown into the ground.
So, I don't remember much.
I rolled out and laid in the dirt, and I could tell at that point that I had some things that were broken. My neck and back kind of felt like crushed up marbles or rocks, and pain just started at that point coming into my body.
Blood or something behind here, yeah.
I just felt more and more pain kind of flooding into my body, and it felt like everything was broken. But I could wiggle my fingers and my toes. I was excited about that.
I think I hear an ambulance. Ryan called it.
Emergency services arrive and rush Andy to hospital, where the full extent of his injuries can be assessed.
I had a pretty severe break of my C2 vertebrae, which is in my neck. I also crushed my back, so that was fractured. They ended up having to just do surgery on my neck with a bunch of screws and pins and rods. I'm very fortunate to have survived it in the condition that I did, and I'm going to recover without any long-term side effects. So I'm incredibly lucky.
Despite his terrifying ordeal, Andy is already thinking about taking to the skies once more.
I'm looking forward to flying again with a little more understanding of what the threats are out there and then being able to mitigate those threats as best I can. I think it's something that I'm going to keep doing for sure.
But Andy has learned never to underestimate the power of the elements.
Weather can change at the drop of a hat, and it's kind of something that if Mother Nature wants to get you, she may get you.
Northern Greece is famed for its spectacular beaches and turquoise blue waters. And the jewel in its crown is the rugged coast of Halkidiki. In July 2019, British tourist Andy Gilchrist visits the region with his wife Katie and their 9-year-old daughter Grace.
We were so excited going, we just needed the holiday, and it was the chance to relax, the chance to swim in the pool. And the weather forecast was brilliant, bright sun and blue skies.
But on the 4th day of their vacation, the family gets wind that all is not well.
We've heard whispers around the pool that there's a storm coming tonight, but we didn't expect it to impact our evening.
But that night, the conditions take everyone by surprise.
So we were having dinner, and it was a really nice atmosphere. Then the lightning started.
The storm suddenly intensifies and powers towards the beachfront.
We could feel a, sort of wind coming in, and the sea was getting really choppy. There was lightning from the north and the east and the west, and then it started to converge.
Watching the ferocious lightning storm with friends is Yasun Kukas.
We saw in the horizon some impressive lightning, but it looked far away.
As the heavens open, the friends rush to shelter in Yasun's car. But the storm is going from strength to strength.
There was great wind. We started seeing leaves and rain being poured on the car. And immediately, like 5 or 10 seconds later, they started to pour hail on the car. It was scary. We were thinking that, okay, this might be really dangerous.
The storm sweeps across town with wind speeds of over 60 miles per hour. Smashing into the restaurant where Andy and his family are enjoying their meal.
The rain was torrential. Crashes and flashes of thunder and lightning, and this intense wind, which was starting now to build into something that I'd never seen before.
As the panicked diners take cover, Yasun and his friends fear for their lives.
My friend's concern was whether we would be struck by lightning on the car. But the real danger was being hit by a tree.
Across town, the diners watch in horror as the storm rips apart the terrace of the restaurant.
This thing hits, which is just like a juggernaut. It starts lifting up panes of glass. It felt like the whole world was going sideways because of the intensity. It was unbelievable. I was standing as close as I could, and my wife was shouting at me to get back, and I wasn't even listening. I had no understanding of the terror that people were in behind me, including my wife and including my 9-year-old daughter, Grace. Would have lifted and thrown one of those incredibly heavy panes of glass across the room. Somebody caught out in that would not have stood a chance.
Outside, Yasun is still cowering in his car, hoping he won't fall victim to the storm's wrath.
The sound was really scary and really loud, and it was overwhelming. In my life, I haven't experienced such a storm.
Incredibly, the storm stops as quickly as it came and leaves everyone shocked and bewildered.
Suddenly, the weather was back to normal. My wife said to me, "Your daughter is terrified," and it started to hit home that people were scared.
The whole center of the storm had passed us. We survived, but I'm not sure it was because of our actions or just luck.
The Halkidiki storm lasted just 20 minutes, but injured over 100 people. And tragically, 7 people lost their lives.
In the morning after, you could see the devastation that had been caused by the storm. There were pieces of trees, huge chunks of trees, all over the resort. It was like a bomb had gone off.
I have never seen a storm create so much destruction, especially in Greece.
It took about 30 seconds to go from a bad storm to this unbelievable event. It was a much, much worse storm than I had ever imagined it could be.
Whether it's holidays, weddings, or parties, Mother Nature has an annoying habit of turning up uninvited. This Californian pool party has been interrupted by an intense hailstorm. As party-goers take cover, hail the size of golf balls batters not just the backyard, but this poor bloke too, who has a painful-looking bruise to show for it. In Thailand, it's not a case of a storm in a teacup, but a storm in a coffee shop. It takes everyone by surprise, including the security guard, who's struggling to stay standing. For the customers, it was definitely not the sort of caffeine hit they were expecting. Guests at this wedding in Argentina have started a spontaneous conga line. But celebrations come to a halt when Mother Nature crashes the party. "90-mile-per-hour winds blow in the windows, sending everything in the room flying, and terrified guests fleeing. For better or for worse, it's certainly a day this bride and groom will remember. In this episode, we've felt Mother Nature's full fury. We've seen her pummel, punish, and pounce without warning. And next time, there will be more. Because deadly weather stops for no one.